Next, it's a featherweight title fight between Khabib Nurmagomedov and Max Holloway.
Hey guys, my name is Connor from the UK Gaming Bureau and welcome to our EA Sports UFC 3 simulation and prediction of Khabib Nurmagomedov vs Max Holloway. So this is a fight I don't think anyone was expecting. Unfortunately, Tony Ferguson had to pull out due to injury, but Max Holloway has stepped in and will be facing Khabib Nurmagomedov for the UFC undisputed lightweight title. So before we mention the obvious things, we're going to have a look at both of their records. So Khabib Nurmagomedov is undefeated in MMA. He has 25 wins, 0 losses, and has notable wins over people such as Edson Barboza, Michael Johnson, Pat Healy, and Rafael dos Anjos. He has a very mixed record as well in that he has 8 knockouts, 8 submissions, and 9 decisions, so he really can win by any means necessary. It's also worth noting that a lot of his knockouts come by ground and pound. Max Holloway, on the other hand, is coming into this fight with 19 wins, 3 losses, and is coming off back-to-back TKO wins over the greatest featherweight of all time, Jose Aldo. He is also the current featherweight UFC world champion. As well as the Aldo win, he also has wins over notable opponents such as Ricardo Lamas, Anthony Pettis, Jeremy Stephens, Charles Oliveira, Cub Swanson, and Cole Miller. So as you can tell, he's got a lot of very good wins on his record. So let's talk about their styles. Khabib Nurmagomedov is arguably one of the best grapplers in the UFC that we have ever seen. He has a sambo base, but he also mixes it in with high-level wrestling as well, as he trains at AKA with people such as Daniel Cormier, Cain Velasquez. He's going to pick up all the wrestling from there and combine it with his sambo. His game is very simple and he pretty much has the same game plan for every opponent. He puts his hands up, walks towards them, gets hold of them, tries to take them down, and then tries to either win by ground and pound or tries to get a submission. Everyone knows what he tries to do. No one so far has been able to stop it. The scary thing about Khabib isn't so much his takedowns. I believe his takedown rate is only around 50%, which isn't the greatest. But it's when he gets on top of you, the kind of pressure that he has. If Khabib Nurmagomedov gets on top of you, unless you're a very, very high level Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, it's unlikely you're going to be getting up. And it's unlikely you're going to be able to stop the barrage of punches that he's going to throw down on you. And if you're managing to stop those, he'll probably be looking for an arm and try and break it. Unlike a lot of grapplers in the UFC, as soon as you hit the ground with Khabib, he is very active. He is always looking for ways to finish the fight. He's not just holding on to you for the sake of trying to win points. He's not bad on the feet, but he is at a disadvantage in this fight. He has a lot of power in his hands. He does have a few knockdowns. I believe he has a few standing knockouts as well from earlier in his career. But from a technical standpoint, he's not too great. But that's because he's not ever really needed to use it. When he's got a weapon as good as his sambo and as good as his wrestling, he doesn't need to use his striking. It is worth noting that he does have a very solid chin, however. In his fight with Michael Johnson, who is a very, very hard puncher, hit him cleanly with a left hand. Khabib wobbled a little bit, but he recovered in about a second or two, and he was fine for the rest of the fight and went on to win that fight. Also, in his most recent fight against Edson Barboza landed a spinning wheel kick to the side of his head as hard as he could, and Khabib just walked through it. So he's got a very solid chin, and if you want to put him down, it's going to take a lot. So now let's look at Max Holloway's style. Max Holloway is sort of a weird mix of a technical striker and a brawler as well. I suppose you may want to call him sort of a technical brawler. Another great thing about Max's style is the amount of cardio he has. He can push this style he has for all 5 rounds. Now Max on the feet, he doesn't really do anything crazy. He does sort of stick to the fundamentals, but he's very, very good with them, and he does have a lot of power in his hands. You'll see a lot of 1-2s from him. You'll see him mix in a lot of body shots, and you'll see him go for a few low kicks as well. It's very unlikely you're going to see him going for flying knees or spinning wheel kicks. He'll stick to the basics, and he'll use them well. Now Max Holloway is on a very, very impressive winning streak. He hasn't actually lost since 2013, where he lost against Conor McGregor when he was only around 20 years old. But the only one criticism that he has had over his big winning streak is he hasn't faced a real solid grappler yet. Now he's fought very, very good guys like Cub Swanson or Jeremy Stephens, but he hasn't fought that pure wrestler, someone like a Frankie Edgar or a Chad Mendes. The reason I'm bringing that up is because his takedown defense is a bit unproven. The last fight we really saw him getting taken down was actually in the Conor McGregor fight. Conor McGregor was able to take him down and keep him down. Now, of course, Max Holloway has completely changed his game over then. He was very young then, and since then he's not lost, and he's gone on to win the world title and defend it. So I'm sure his takedown defense has improved. But what a first test for your grappling Khabib Nurmagomedov is. So obviously there's a few X factors in this fight which we need to mention. Max Holloway is coming up from 145 pounds to 155 pounds. Now, Max is about 5'11", he's a tall guy, but he's not a big muscly guy. He is quite thin for the weight as well. He cuts a lot of weight to get down there, and he's not really able to outmuscle anyone at 145. So facing one of the bigger 155 pounders in Khabib is going to have such a strength advantage and such a power advantage, it's going to be crazy. Speaking of the weight cut, Max Holloway is known about this fight. He's got it on 6 days notice. Max does like to sort of balloon up a bit. I'm not sure if it's true, but I've heard that he's currently around 175, 180 pounds as of 6 days out. Not sure if that's true, but if it is, he is going to have a huge weight cut ahead of him. And of course, a huge weight cut going up against a much bigger, stronger guy, that doesn't look good for him. The other X factor that works in Khabib's favour is Khabib's had a full camp for this. He's been training for Tony Ferguson, and Tony and Max, their body types, they're really not too dissimilar. They're both sort of taller, lanky, long guys. So Khabib does have an advantage of it. He's been training for someone the same sort of size as Max Holloway, with the only difference being Max probably will not be as strong and he will not offer up as much resistance on the ground as Ferguson would have. However, the X factor working on Max's side is that if Max wins this fight, he'll be a two-weight world champion holding both at the same time, the exact same thing as Conor McGregor did. And of course, if he manages to be holding the featherweight and the lightweight title, both of which Conor McGregor says that he never lost, it's looking very likely that Conor McGregor's next fight back will be Max Holloway, and we all know Max Holloway wants to avenge that loss back in 2013. So let's take a quick look at both of their methods to victory. We'll start with the easiest, which is Khabib Nurmagomedov. Plain and simple, he needs to do exactly what he's done every other time. He needs to march across that ring, keep his hands up high, get hold of Max, and do anything he can to bring him to the ground. Once he's on the ground, I really don't see what Max can actually do. Obviously, Max isn't clueless on the ground, but against someone as high level as Khabib, who will not make any mistake on the ground, I really don't see what he's going to be able to do. Plus, with Khabib being much heavier, much bigger, much stronger, I don't see him being able to get up as soon as he's taken down. So playing into that, what Max needs to do to win is he needs to make the most of his time on the feet. He can't go in there expecting to stuff every takedown of Khabib. He can't go in there expecting to not get taken down. What he needs to do is working off his back, and he needs to work on doing whatever he can on the feet. He needs to stun Khabib, he needs to hurt Khabib, he needs to try and catch him coming in. Now, it's not impossible for Max to win this fight, even though the odds are not in his favour. He does have much better striking than Khabib, and he does have a lot of power in his punches as well. Plus, this is also his first fight at 155, so we don't know what kind of Max Holloway we're going to see. We might see the Max Holloway I'm expecting, which is someone who's had to drain themselves for the last 6 days, is going to be severely undersized and will not perform at his best. Or we could be seeing a Max Holloway who should be fighting at this weight, who is going to be a much improved version of himself at featherweight. This is a very interesting fight and one I didn't think we'd ever see due to the circumstances, but now as we are coming to doing our prediction, I feel like you already know which way I'm swinging. As good as Max Holloway is, even if he had a full camp for this fight, I don't think I'd favour him, so the fact that he's coming in on 6 days notice, I'm really not giving him too much of a chance. My prediction is going to be a Khabib Nurmagomedov 4th round TKO. I'm going 4th round because Max is very durable, he's never been finished with strikes before, and you know he will not quit. He will do everything he can to stay in that fight and do what he can. But I just think the pressure of Khabib, the ground and pound of Khabib, the grappling of Khabib, plus the weight cut he's going to have to go through, I think that's just going to be too much for him. So I'm going with a Khabib Nurmagomedov 4th round TKO. So on our EA Sports UFC 3 simulation of Khabib Nurmagomedov versus Max Holloway, we had a Max Holloway knockout win at 2 minutes 30 seconds of the 3rd round. And if you're planning on watching this fight, let us know in the comments down below, either on YouTube, Facebook or Twitter, and let us know your prediction and we can see if anyone gets it right after the fight. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button down below, and as always, to see more videos coming soon, please subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to click on the eye on the top right corner and vote on who you think will win this fight.